So we're going to insert a new symbol here. Insert a new symbol. And I'm going to make my square first. Oops, square. And I'm going to export it for ActionScript. That pretty much tells it that I'm going to be putting some code to it later. So it's going to be looking for that. And it's my symbol square. It tells me that it doesn't have a path yet, so that's okay. It's going to make one later. It will do that all by itself. So we're going to make our square. And I'm going to hold down the Shift key so it makes a perfect square rather than a rectangle. Make it like that big. And we can make it, I think we made it red. Yeah, there we go. Now here's the registration point right here, and it's just going to be easiest for me, or I find it easiest if that registration point's in the upper left. So I'm going to go to my Align palette up here and just align it to the left edge and to the top. Very often people have it in the middle. That makes a lot of sense for some things that you're doing, but when I'm going to be giving it coordinates to be on the screen, it makes it simpler for me to know where its top left is. So I put it at the top left. You can kind of do it however you'd like. And that's pretty much it. We just made our square. Now up here you can see right here that we're editing our square. Scene 1 is kind of the only scene that we're going to be using for this. It's just kind of what you're actively editing. So right now we're editing the square, which is part of this scene 1. If I want to go back to scene 1, here's my blank stage that I could be working on stuff. You can see squares over here in the library, but you can see we're no longer editing square, right? You always want to go back to the main scene when you're making new symbols. So I'm going to make a new symbol now. I'm going to make our circle. There we go. And export it for ActionScript so we can use it later. It's going to give you the warning. I should click the don't warn me again, but I'm always scared that I'll need it sometime. So here's our circle. So I'll go over here and hold that down. Get our oval tool. Now if you don't hold Shift, you can make an oval like that. And I don't want an oval. I'm going to get rid of that. So instead I'm going to hold down Shift while I'm drawing this, and it should draw a perfect circle. There we go. And we had our circle as yellow, I think. There we go. And once again, I'm going to put the registration point in the top left. And there's our circle. Okay, go back to scene 1. And we can see now we have our circle, capital C, and our square, capital S, as what are called movie clips in our library. And we can use those when we start writing code for this. So let's go up here and click this frame that we're in. Now we're not going to put different stuff in all these different frames up here. We're actually going to program how we want it to progress through frames. So we're going to do that ourselves in the code here. So now let's write some ActionScript code. What we were working on today was getting the circle and the square added to the stage. So var, right, for variable to tell it that we're going to call it something new. And square, lowercase s, which is of type square, tells us that we want a copy of our movie clip that we put in there, equals a new square, right? And that's that. Okay, it's a new square. Excellent. And we could say square dot x equals 100, I think we had, and we had square dot y equals 100. And if we stop right now and just hit Command Enter, we can see we're probably not going to get anything. And it's because even though we told it that we wanted a new square, there was nothing there, right? Even though we told it that we wanted a new square, and even though we assigned it x and y coordinates, we never added it to the stage. Okay? So you can have things that you can be kind of manipulating, but they can either be on the stage or not be on the stage. So it's actually really useful to not have to have everything displayed that you currently have kind of active going on. But let's add this now. We have to add child. That's an ActionScript command that's used to, so it shows up in blue. Add child and square. Okay, now let's try it again. Command Enter, test our movie. And there's our square. with its registration point at 100 pixels to the right and 100 pixels down from the bottom. So that's x and y equaling 100. That's where that registration point would be right there. Now I said that this could be anything we wanted, right? We can call this whatever we want. We can call this Bob. And as long as we call it Bob all the way through, it'll know what we're talking about because we said, hey, this is a variable that I want you to remember. That's why we wrote VAR in front of it. So we could write this, we could change it to Bob and Command Enter. And lo and behold, there's our same square right in the same spot. Now, I called it square before because when you're writing a lot of code and you're a few hundred lines deep in it and you don't know what you're writing about anymore because you decided to be cute and call it Bob, that's a real pain in the butt. So most of the time people don't do that. But you could. If you had a certain character in a video game or something like that, you had a bad guy, right? Say you make a bad guy, and then you want to make multiple instances, and you want to call one of them Bob and Mike and one Ringo, right? So you can keep track of the different ones that you make. You could do that. That's no problem. Anyway, so here we are back to this. We're going to do the same thing with our circle. Circle of type circle that I made and put in my library. Now, we didn't have to make it in our library. We could actually write code to make this circle itself. And we'll do that at some point. It's actually nice and convenient to do sometimes. But for now, we'll just deal with stuff that we made in our library. So this is a new circle. And circle X. What did I say? I wanted its X to be different. So let's say 350. And it's circle Y. Oops, circle's not with a U. Circle Y equals 100. I want it to be on par level-wise with the square there. And I need to add it. Add child. My circle. And again, I could call this anything I wanted to. Test my movie. I should have a square and a circle. You can see the x coordinate is different over here, but the y coordinates are the same. So they're on the same kind of line as each other. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to tell it to do something. So we're going to add event listener. All right, we're going to add an event listener. And this is going to be an event of type enter frame. Okay, so it's going to be event.entr. And you see it comes up here. It says, hey, you trying to type this? And I'll say yes, because that will help me, because I won't make mistakes that way. Enter frame, and I want to run the command on enter frame. Right, on enter frame. There we go. And yeah, well, that's pretty much it. Okay. Now, I have to tell it what the onEnterFrame function is going to do. So define the function down here. OnEnterFrame. Okay. The onEnterFrame function is one that's used pretty commonly. That's why it shows up in the blue ActionScript code there. Which is a type of, it's an event. I don't want it to return anything, so I'm going to say void. We'll learn about that later, that I don't want it to return anything. I don't want it returning any data when I run this. I just want it to do whatever I tell it to do in these commands here. So open and close my brackets. And let's see here. I want when a new frame is entered, it'll be run about 24 frames per second, or maybe 12, depending on what the default is. I want it to run this, so what do I say? I want the square, oops, I want the square's x value. I want it to increase, and I want the increase to equal, that's the syntax, plus equals, say 5, right? So I want that to equal plus equals 5, right? Let's test our movie and see if I made any syntax errors here. There we go. And now it's moving across the screen. And there we go. Excellent. Okay, so what if we want to do something else too? What if we want to, say, tell whether or not the square is hitting the circle? We could do circle dot hit test object, right? Hit test object, and we could hit test object on the square. And let's see here for a second. And we're going to say if that happens, do something. Right? So I've got this if in here, right? So if the circle hit test object means hits the test object, which is the square. If the circle hits the square, then do something. You can see I've got another pair of curly braces here. What am I going to tell it to do? I'm going to tell it to, in JavaScript, you use the command console log, and that just kind of outputs data that you can look at. In ActionScript, it's called trace. Let's say when they hit, I want to trace the string ouch. Right? Trace ouch. Let's see if this works here. Now where are we going to see that? That'll be in our output tab over here. Let's see if when it hits it, it says ouch. Ouch, 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 ouch. And we can see all the times that it said ouch because the square was hitting the circle quite a bit. For every frame that the square was hitting the circle, it ran that if command because it was hitting the circle. So it said ouch a bunch of times. What if we wanted it to stop when it did that? So if the circle hits the square, what we can do is we can take and copy this and put that in here. But instead of add event listener, we can remove it. Remove event listener. So what this is going to do now is it's going to, here we've added an event listener that says, hey, every time we enter a frame, run this command. But then we say, if the circle hits the square, remove that listener. Remove the thing that's looking for a new frame to start. And therefore, it won't run our onEnterFrame command again. So let's see what we get now. Our square goes across, hits our circle, and it stops. We get ouch once because it hit it, and we asked it to trace ouch when it hits it. But we remove the event listener since when it hit it, now the function's not going to run anymore because it's not listening for that anymore. So it just stops and it hits there, right? That way it doesn't keep passing through it if we wanted to. But this is just a simple way to move stuff around and look for collision detection, and which is very often what you want to do if you have little balls that you're shooting at something, or things that you want to hit each other, or Mario squishing a mushroom or something like that in a video game. All that is done with the hit test object command when you're looking for stuff. So we could get rid of this real quick again and make that a comment, right? Put 2 slashes in front of it. It turns gray, which means it's not going to run that anymore. It's treating it as a comment now. And now if we ran our movie again, now we would go back to ouch, 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 ouch. And there's ouch, 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 ouch. Right? And you can play with like a million things with this. You could, let's see, let's have it stop again. And I don't know, we could have, I don't know, we could do, you can do anything you want. You could have the circle get bigger, you could have the square disappear. We could have, yeah, let's do that. Remove child circle. Well, circle spelled right. Right? We add our circle up here, we could remove it. If the square hits it, remove it. And here comes the square. It's going to hit it. It's going to stop, and now it says ouch. There we go, right? You got a ball going across the screen, or a bullet going across the screen in a game or something like that, and it hits somebody, and whoever hits, it disappears, right? So ways that you can play, make these video games and start doing some really simple stuff by making objects and making them move.